Hmm. Hi, everybody. Welcome. So great to be here with you. If you didn't see the announcement, we need 2 blocks. If you don't have a block, a big book or a very tiny chair or stool might work, or very flexible hamstrings. So maybe you've got those. And a blanket. And if you're not already seated on your blanket, take a moment, get comfortable. We're going to start with some pranayama. I've really been enjoying this in my own practice as a way of connecting with my breath so I can have that as a focal point during practice. And today's practice is going to focus on the breath and the psoas, which is a muscle that relates to the breath, as well as a deep core muscle and our primary hip flexor. So we'll have a lot of exciting explorations of waking up our psoas and allowing it to support us more deeply in a more balanced way. So let's get started. Take your time, settling in, hydrating, doing those important things. And then allow your focus to begin resting inside. You're welcome to close the eyes or gaze downward. Start to notice the breath and be patient and compassionate, because depending on what you were doing right before this, it can be challenging to feel this subtler layer of being. As you notice the breath, see if you can allow it to smooth out and slow down. And we'll be practicing the 2-part diaphragmatic breath. And this is an incredible way to strengthen the muscles of the breath so that we can have fuller, smoother, more grounded breathing. And the way this will work is, as we exhale, we'll actively draw the navel in. And then the inhale will be in 2 parts. The first part will expand the ribs, and the restriction of the abdominal cavity will help strengthen the diaphragm. And then the second part will be to release that contraction, letting the breath come in fully and smoothly. So to begin, take a couple of breaths, and as you exhale, notice the ability of the center of your body to tighten, letting the navel pull in gently and naturally. And there's a sense of emptying out completely, and that's what allows this tightness to occur at your center. And the next time you exhale, keep that tightness. Bring your hands to your ribs and play with breathing into your ribs without losing that sense of contraction. And if at any time this is uncomfortable, resume your natural breath. But otherwise, try a couple of breaths like this and notice how the contraction of the abdominal cavity allows you to take a fuller breath into the ribs. I think of the ribs like an accordion, filling out to the sides. And then relax and bring one hand down to the navel, keep one hand on the ribs, and we'll put everything together, breathing into the ribs like that, but then letting the belly fill. So when your next exhale comes around, feel as the navel naturally draws in. You don't have to overdo it, but keep it there. First half of the breath, inhale, let the ribs expand. Second half, relax completely, letting the belly expand as well. And exhale, navel naturally draws in. First half of the inhale, ribs. Second half, belly. We'll do one more together. So the exhale empties out, everything tightens. Stay tight as you inhale, half the breath to the ribs, the other half to the belly. And now continue on your own, exhaling to tighten and inhaling in those two parts. Once you've got the hang of it, you can always release the hands. And you can let it become subtler and subtler until you're not constricting so much. You're not forcing the inhale. You're just able to notice the strengthening that's happening in the first part of the inhalation. And then it smoothly transitions down to the belly. And as you continue on your own, maybe you even start to feel what's happening to the diaphragm, the muscle at the top of the abdominal cavity that pushes down when we inhale and gently rises as we exhale. And take your time, letting the breath get smoother and smoother. And we'll take just a few more breaths like this. And then ever so gently release the pranayama practice and see if your breath can be just a little bit more useful to your core after doing that practice. And today, as we work with the psoas, it's really similar to the diaphragm, where it's almost like we set up these good conditions for it to fire properly, but we can't ever control it completely. It takes a lot of subtle awareness and patience. And if you've shut the eyes, you can gently flicker them open. If you're following along with the playlist, you can hit play on the first track and set your blocks over to your left hand side. I'm not mirrored, right? Can you make sure I'm not mirrored? Okay, so to your left hand side, so they're ready for you later. Move your blanket out of the way. You're not going to need it until the end of class probably. And turn to your right. Extend your legs just a little bit so the knees are bent and heels are on the ground, and start rocking from side to side, pawing out the hands, just starting to wake up the wrists, the arms, the shoulders, the back of the heart. And then start to sit upright a little bit more, but still rock. So there's a softness in the hips and in the spine. And slowly make your way to stillness. The legs can extend any amount that's comfortable, but we don't want any pulling on the low back. And we're just warming up. So be really gentle and kind. And start to circle the feet really gently so there's not too much muscular effort here. The goal is to massage the heels. And as the feet circle, there's a natural tendency, yeah, you guys are all doing that, for the body to follow the feet. Can allow that to happen. See if you can keep tuning into the breath and that subtle inner awareness. And then gently circle the other way, and just like magic, your body starts circling the other way. Yeah, nice. And everyone looks great in terms of awareness with your neck. Just let the neck follow the spine gently. And the next time you come up towards center, pause there for a moment. Sit up tall as long as it's comfortable. And then bend the knees just a little bit more if they've straightened. Your next inhale, drag the hands back, drag the heels back, and notice how that energetically lifts you. Yes, beautiful. And then gentle exhale, start to wave the spine forward. Don't worry about how far you go. And then inhale, kick into the heels and ride that wave back up to the top, slowly stacking the spine. Inhale, drag and reach forward. Slow, gentle exhale, roll back up. And we'll repeat this several times, so move at your own pace. And especially in the beginning, let this be about finding fluidity and starting to wake up the core. And don't worry about going far or stretching anything. And the next time you rise up, pause there at the top, and we'll do the same thing over each leg. So if the legs are pretty close together, separate them a little bit. Let's start with the right leg. Hands can either stay where they are, or the left hand can go to frame the right. It's up to you. And so bend the knee, draping body over the right leg, and then kick into the heel, rolling up. And then switch sides. And then alternate from side to side and be extra compassionate here, because now we're adding an extra element, right? Instead of just going forward and back, there's a gentle rotation, and you want to make sure the spine feels supported here. One more each side. And after you wave over the left leg and gently rise up, you can pause there. Bend the knees until the soles of the feet can come onto the floor, and then tip the knees over to the left and take a twist, continuing to the left. Gaze over the left shoulder. And then slow, gentle inhale, reach the arms up, roll over the soles of the feet, going to the other side, and eventually exhaling into the twist. And now move with your own breath flow, inhaling, inflating through center, getting buoyant and light, and exhaling, slowly letting the muscles of the core wrap around the spine as you twist. We'll take 2 more to each side, so sink in and explore. And after you twist to the right next, we'll meet at center, inflated with our arms up, and then lower the arms down behind you, extend the legs, and play with sliding the arms out to the side, but supporting yourself as you do that, so you wake up some more muscles in your shoulders. And then on your next exhale, drag the arms back in, sitting up a little bit more. And we'll do that a couple of times to activate the muscles in the back and the arms. If it doesn't feel good on your hip flexors to sit up, try not sitting up as tall and just stabilizing in this strengthening position. One more, and we'll all meet on our back. You can sigh when you get there if that feels good, and notice any warmth or tingling in the arms. Stretch your arms overhead. You might say hello to your blocks. You can move them out of the way or just see how that goes. Lift the right leg, cross the right leg over the left, and slow motion let the right leg pull you over the left side of the body into a roll. If your space doesn't allow you to roll all the way onto the belly, it's fine to just stay on the side, but if you've got the room, go for it. And then we'll bring our way back the way we came by lifting the right leg, crossing it over, and as you exhale, slowly reach that right leg out to roll onto the back. And then with your inhale, lift the left leg, and exhale, pull it away from you to slowly roll over. And we'll be doing this a few times, and you can breathe however you want, but I enjoy inhaling to lift the limb and exhaling, letting everything unite as the leg pulls and reaches, and I flip over. And if you're breathing in that way, try to notice the strength of the exhale. We'll continue rolling from side to side. Notice the strength of the exhale and how that leg can unite with the core and pull the rest of the body. Right? We can use our limbs in a way that is not unified, and being more skillful with our breathing and the smoothness of our movements and the intention we set behind them, we can start to find more connections, more support. Let's do one more each side. And after the left leg pulls you onto your back, you can pause, walk the heels in, and slowly curl up, giving your legs a hug. And notice that sense of condensing at the front of the body. Keep that all connected as you float the feet down. Reach the hands towards the feet, and with your next exhale, gently lift the hips into a gentle bridge. And we'll pulse between those two shapes a couple of more times, but the next time the knees come in, instead of wrapping arms around the thighs, just reach up with the arms on your exhale. And then inhale, feet down, head down, and next exhale, slowly lift into bridge. So the inhale will be the transition, and the exhale lifts you into the crunch. Inhale, transition, feet and arms down, and the exhale lifts you into bridge. And so through our class today, we'll be exploring using the exhale to harness a little more deep core support. Take a few more on your own, moving gently, letting the breath be your focal point. And the next time you're in bridge, pause there. Let the shoulders relax a little bit. Adjust the feet, make sure the knees feel supported. And then with your next exhale, gently release one vertebra at a time. And if it takes extra time, pause on the inhale and then keep exhaling to release. Wrap hands around the back of the thighs. Draw the knees in and then kick them forward to roll up. Nice. That's the true core test, right? Did you make it all the way up? Cross the right leg in front of the left. Left hand behind you. Lift the right hand high and then slowly push down into the left hand and the feet to pivot into table facing your blocks. Nice. Or down dog. That's great too, Sithara. Feel free to play with down dog for a moment if your body naturally wants to go there. And then we can all lower the knees down and release the hips to the heels. Flatten the tops of the feet and gently start to push down into the shins. Use your exhale to slowly roll up one vertebra at a time, sending the hips forward into a high kneeling position. And once you get to the top, imagine there's two thick, heavy rubber bands around each thigh. Grab the rubber band that's in front of the left thigh and pull it up and back with the right arm, and feel the sense of connection through the front of the body. And then release back down to Bhaktasana, and we'll do the same thing on the other side, rolling up with the exhale. Grabbing left hand to right thigh and then reaching the left hand up and back. And take a couple more on your own, connecting to your breath. And the next time the left arm reaches up and back, as you release it, you can come to center and pause, kneeling. Great fluid movements, everybody. Shift the weight into the right knee, and we will be doing some balancing today, so I always like to start with a little balancing in kneeling. Start to hover the left knee. Arms can come down to T or a low V. Find a drishti. Oh, this is a really nice poem. And start to find those wobbles in the right knee and hip as the left leg hovers and points in different directions. Use your breath. It's okay if you fall. You're really close to the ground, right? So challenge yourself. Yes, great idea. Feel free to support your knee here if you need to. And then eventually step the left foot into a short lunge. And let's wake up our left foot. Anchor the left big toe. Make some nice big circles with the left knee so that the weight starts to shift in the left foot. And you don't want any pressure in the knee, so if you feel that, anchor the heel a little bit extra and see if that helps. As the knee circles, notice how the weight shifts in the ankle. Notice how the arch of the foot changes. Go the opposite direction with the circles. And then let them get smaller and smaller until you find the place where the ankle feels equally balanced and there's a nice gentle arch. So not as high as you might think, but there should be that springy quality in the inside of the foot. And from there, gently start to scoop the air up, letting the front of the body open. And here is my favorite thing that I've been doing like 5 times a day. Tuck your right toes under. Actually, reach your arms down. Take a moment to make sure the pelvis is level here. This is really important. So left hand to sacrum, right hand to belly, tip the pelvis forward, tip it back, and play with this gentle rocking motion until you find the place where the deep abdominals gently engage to pull up on the pelvis. It's not a tucking action. It's really just a sense of an energized neutral. Yes, you guys look awesome. So once you find that pause there, and you might even notice a sense of opening, even just at neutral in the front of the right hip. So just watch out for that. And then place the hands on the hips and start to bend the right knee, shifting back. So nothing changes in the pelvis, but as you shift back, this actually helps fire the psoas. So you might feel that deep, subtle engagement. I like to bring my hands up to my waist because then I can actually feel the rest of the core muscles participating. Are you guys feeling that kind of exciting little, yes, okay, good. And then next time you lean back and everything fires, pause there and notice the sense of unity from the leg up to the core. Make sure the low back is relaxed. That is key whenever you're firing the psoas. Take a couple of breaths here. Stay relaxed, and then reach the arms up, keeping the right side of the body really connected and unified. Start to reach up and over to the left. Push down into the right knee. Take a breath through the whole right side and drop the left arm. With your next exhale, reach the left arm back to where it came from, and then inhale to drop it, and take a few of these pulses. And the next time the arm lifts, pause. One last breath here. And then gently reach up, release the arms, and again, pause. You can even relax. So if it took effort to keep your pelvis where it was, just relax for a moment and scan the right side of the body. And then gently release the hands down inside of the knee and make some little circles with the hips. And as you circle the hips here, anchor the left heel. Notice the relationship between the thigh bones and the hip sockets, and let yourself relax as much as possible. And you can always walk the front foot forward and to the left a little bit more if the body is craving a different size circle. And then walk the right hand over to the right a little bit. Start to slide the left knee forward and then kick the left leg through. Right. Yeah, thanks. You got it. Allow the left leg for real this time to extend to meet it, and we'll much more quickly go through that to get to the second side. So begin by bending the knees, draping the body forward, and then kick into the heels. We'll just do 2 of these, forward and back. And the next time you roll up, walk the hands back, let the arms start to slide out to a T, controlling your descent. You don't have to come back up this time, but feel the control on the arms as you lower. Let yourself land. Reach the arms overhead. And then lift the left leg over the right. Let it roll you over to one side. And then back. And then the other side. Still noticing the breath and moving as slowly as you need to use the exhale to help you stay united. Once you land onto the back, curl the knees into the chest, rolling up. And then set the feet down and let the body open into bridge. And if you liked the breathing pattern before, we inhaled to transition and then we exhaled for the movement, either lifting into bridge or lifting into Apanasana. We'll just take a couple of pulses. The next time you curl up, pause there, grab behind the knees and kick the legs forward into coming up to seated. Cross left leg over right. Right hand reaches behind you, push down into feet and hands. Lift the left hand and flip to table. And then flatten the tops of the feet. Send the hips back into Bhaktasana. Pause in Bhaktasana for a moment, letting the hips get heavy, letting the forehead melt. You're welcome to gently sway from side to side. And then push down into the shins, slowly rolling up. Find your exhale, use your exhale to get a little extra support around the spine, and then left hand to right thigh, reach up and back. Take your time finding your way down to Bhaktasana, or even a half Bhaktasana, it's kind of up to you. And then slow exhale to rise. Option if you want to inhale at the top and then use the exhale for your twisting back bend. And the next time you come down into half Bhaktasana, we'll slowly roll up, but instead of going into our back bend, shift the weight into the left knee and hover the right. And take some balance prep here. Make sure you're breathing and notice the tendency that some of us have to hold the breath, and see if you can actually relax and find a gentleness with yourself as you challenge and destabilize. And then step the right foot forward to a short lunge. option to grab a blanket to support the back knee. Now, especially that you know how all the things we'll be doing there, you might want it. And then tuck the back toes under. And we'll start by circling around the weight in the front foot. Be really gentle. Make sure the joints feel supported here and they're enjoying it. Make any adjustments to where that foot is. Change the circling, and eventually the circles can get smaller and smaller until you find that sweet spot where the ankle feels really supported, the knee feels really spacious, and the foot is strong. The arches are gently activating. To release the hands inside of the foot, make some gentle circles with the hips here. The back knee can adjust so you're in the most comfortable positioning. And then kind of like half Bhaktasana, shift the hips back just a little bit. Let the low back round any amount that feels like a nice cat stretch. With your next exhale, feel the core engage and push down into the back knee to slowly start to roll up. You can always push your hand into your front thigh if you need extra support here. And once you've made it to the top, left hand to sacrum, right hand to belly, take some of those pelvic tilts, right? And just become aware of the orientation of your pelvis and be open to the fact that maybe neutral isn't what you think. Start to use the exhale as the back of the pelvis drops and the front of the pelvis lifts. Let the movements get smaller and smaller, and then once you've found the place that you think is as supported as possible and everyone looks good from here, bring the hands to the small of the waist and start to take those little hinges where the knee bends, the weight shifts back, and you can feel the muscles engage under the fingertips, but then let your awareness sink deeper into the core of the hip socket and the core of the heart, right? Because yoga's about more than our psoas. And try to feel that sense of awakening that's happening on that deep level as you shift back. And the next time you shift, pause there and feel that sense of continuity from the core down into the hip. Lift the arms, and with your next exhale, start to push down into the left knee, reaching up and over. And then inhale back up, and exhale to side bend. This time drop the right arm, and use your exhale to lift it back up. Inhale to drop, exhale to lift. Take a couple more, trying to feel the continuity from the left knee all the way up into the core, beyond, into the crown of the head, and how the arms can help with that. And the next time the arm reaches up, pause there, take a couple of breaths. You can make any little movements here to help you explore what's happening in your hip. And then with your next inhale, push into the right foot, slowly come back to neutral, and exhale, release the hands into the front thigh. Extend the front leg a little bit, wag the tail. And then anchor the front foot. Make sure the weight is in the heel. Interlace the hands on top of that thigh and shift the weight over the front heel so the back leg gets as light as possible. Lean the body forward and gently start to play with extending the back leg by kicking out through the heel, right? So it's like the back of the leg is lifting it. If that's not comfortable, you can lower the arms and lift the back leg that way. Sometimes that's a little bit easier. And then climb the hands up the thigh into a high lunge. Nice. From here, take some bounces into the back foot. Step the back foot forward eventually, but take your time. And we'll meet in Tadasana and take a moment to just breathe as you arrive in standing. If you're following along with the playlist, you can go to the next track. Feel free to grab a sip of water. And move your blanket off of the mat. Let's start by going for a little walk around your space, being as relaxed as possible, but let your focus drop to your breath. And then maybe there's some awareness still in that deep core of the heart and of the hip sockets. And see if you can notice how the legs are relating to the rest of the body. And start to head back towards the mat, the end where the blocks were so delightfully in the way. And set them to their highest height so they're ready for you when you need them. And then you can step about a foot behind them. So you're facing the left side of the mat. And paw out the feet underneath the hips, finding your Tadasana. And let's experiment a little bit. Shift too much weight into the toes on purpose. And I don't want you guys to hurt yourselves here, but play with coming into chair with the weight in the toes. And notice the sense of pressure that builds in the front of the knees, okay? And then come out of it. We are going to be doing a lot of standing poses where I don't want you to have that sensation at all in the knees. And so to avoid it, we have more awareness back in our heels. So now try bringing the awareness back into the heels, bringing the weight back into the heels. Maybe you can even feel the hamstrings and the erectors supporting the back of the body. And now start to bend the knees and reach the hips back. And notice if all that pressure can be taken out of the knees. Take a couple of pulses to explore that and start adding in the arms, reaching them up as the hips hinge back. And then add in the breath, exhaling as you hinge and inhaling to float. And as you play with your chair pose, start to feel the sense of a sling of support supporting you from the back. So the glutes fire up to almost catch your hips. And then almost like a slingshot, let them send the hips back up to neutral. The next time you squat, let's pause in Utkatasana. And we'll play with lifting one heel at a time. Let's save our arms so the arms can come down to the thighs. Slowly start to lift the left heel really gently, like you just got like a 1-inch wedge on. And then it gets higher and higher. And then set the heel down and do the same thing on the other side. And the reason we're lifting our heel is it's activating a deep core muscle called the soleus that's at the very center of the calf. And see if you can feel that sense of a deep muscle pulling up and lifting the heel. After you lift the right heel, the next time, set both heels down, and if it feels safe, play with lifting both heels. But remember, we don't want pressure in the knees, so keep energetic weight in the heels even as they lift. And then set both heels down, hands on thighs, round the spine forward, kind of like curling up on the floor like we did before. Take a breath here into the back body, letting the kidney space expand. And then with your next exhale, slowly rock weight into the heels and roll up one vertebra at a time. And just like we did from kneeling, invisible rubber band, left hand reaches to the right, up, and then back. And then round forward into that crunching chair, or we need to come up with a better name for this one. And then slow exhale, roll up, and then the right hand reaches up and to the right. Take a couple more of these on your own, and remember, it's never about depth. I would rather you find a really smooth and steady place to be. And that's when the body can start to unlock and more muscles can begin to fire up to support you effortlessly. Next time you reach up and to the right, we're evened out, so we can pause there. In Tadasana, shift the weight into your left foot. Keep the weight in the left heel, bend the left knee a little bit. Stay really springy as you step your right foot back, keeping your right toes down. And imagine your pelvis like a buoy. And so it just gently rises, the legs inflate, maybe just an inch or two, and then the knees bend just a little bit and the buoy floats down. You don't want any pressure in your knees, right? So how do you do this in the back leg? Try kicking out with the back heel a little bit more so the hamstrings come online to support you. And then try to remember that feeling of leaning back just a little bit like we did kneeling where the psoas engage. Play with leaning back just a little bit here and see if that deep core muscle can fire up without the low back tightening. And then hand to the thigh, just like we did in chair, round forward, let the front of the body connect. Take an inhale into the back of the body. Slow exhale, rise up into Virabhadrasana 1, letting the back heel lower. Make any adjustments with your stance. If you need more space, it's okay to bring the left foot forward and to the left. And then inhale, straighten the front leg, drop the arms. Exhale, push evenly into both feet as the front knee bends and the arms weightlessly float up. And take a few pulses like this, inhaling to center and exhaling into Virabhadrasana 1. And the next time you're in Vira 1, pause there. Scan the body and try to imagine that everything in your body is working evenly. So there's not one muscle firing up. You can wag the tail a little bit, relaxing the low back. And then start to push into the outer edge of the back foot. Let the arch lift just a little bit and reach up and over to the left. Split the arms to a T. Imagine you're like a bird banking on a breeze and gently side bend to the left, letting the right side body open. And then push into the front leg, coming back up to neutral. We'll repeat this a couple of times. So exhale, soften the front knee as the whole right side opens and side bends. And then inhale to neutral. One more. The next time you bank to the left, pause there and very gently start to reach the left arm forward and then the right arm forward, letting the back lengthen. Hover the back heel just an inch so the back leg muscles turn on a little bit more and start to drape the body over the front thigh, reaching towards the blocks. You can set the blocks to either side of the left foot and start to wag the tail a little bit. And so this is sort of a trick. If you go too far, you can't really wag. You get kind of stuck. So if you feel that, bend the knees a little bit. See if you can soften through the torso. If the blocks are too low, you can always keep the hands on the thighs, but it is pretty delightful if you get that sense of release. And then try to push evenly into both legs. And so both sets of hamstrings are getting massage here, not just the front leg. The low back can be nice and soft, but as you exhale, notice the sense of support that your core naturally provides without you doing anything. And then gently bend into the back knee, lowering it down to the mat, and put as much weight into the blocks as you need to. Awesome. Great job. And then start to shift the weight back, scoop the air up, let the whole front of the body open for a moment. Oh, and here we are in the magical Psoas stretch. So take a couple of those lean backs, and less is more here, right? It's literally just a little bit of bending in that right knee. Make sure the low back is staying soft. Remember, it's more about neutral, but you can start to open up if you feel safe doing that. The next time you lean back, we're going to experiment, and I don't know how this is going to work for everyone, so you can always use the blocks, but if you feel really connected and strong here, take a deep breath in, and then as you exhale, play with letting that spring loading send you forward as the back knee lifts. If that doesn't feel good, you can always place your hands on the blocks and lift the back knee that way. Cool. Nice. Great. And so I don't want to work that front leg again, but I just wanted to play with that transition. So from here, you can bounce the back foot forward, grab your blocks, and let's take them on a walk to the other end of the mat where we'll do that same thing. But pause for a moment and notice any difference between sides. Notice the sensation in your knees. Make sure that some of the interesting explorations aren't aggravating anything. And we'll start with chair pose. So walk the feet out underneath the hips. Start to crease the hips, sending them back. Float the arms forward. You can do one heel at a time lift, or both heels. My physical therapist calls this Michael Jackson's, so feel free to get a little funky with it. Just make sure the weight is reaching back into the hips and there's no pressure in your knees. And then let both heels sink down, hands to thighs. Roll. Imagine you're rolling up into a crunch. Take a breath into the back body. Exhale, slowly roll all the way up. Reach left hand up and to the left. And then do another once it's time. Curling towards the thighs. Inhaling into the back body and then exhaling, rolling up. Right hand reaches up and back. And then we bend both knees, shift the weight into the right foot, and slide the left foot back. Left heel stays up for now. Bend both knees, and here's your buoy pelvis. Let the feet be on railroad tracks so they're nice and wide. And then inhale, gently extend both legs, and exhale, gently melt both knees. Play with taking pressure out of the knees here, right? So if you feel like your back knee is like dropping down towards the mat, that's fine. Just reach the back heel out just a little bit so there's a sense of support coming from the back of the leg as well as the front. And then hands to thigh, roll forward just like we did in chair. Anchor the front heel down, slowly roll up on an exhale. Let the back heel reach down towards the mat, float the arms, Virabhadrasana, 1. And then inhale, straighten the front leg, drop the arms. Exhale to pulse into an even Virabhadrasana 1 and take a few pulses with your breath. Feel both legs working here. Play with sealing the back edge of the back foot down and notice if that helps the arch lift, and more importantly, if that strength can travel all the way up the back leg into the pelvic floor and the rest of the core. The next time you're in Virabhadrasana 1, pause there and breathe. And then start to reach up and away from the left leg, opening the left side body a little bit more. Arms split to a T. Here you are, a bird again, banking on a nice breeze. Anchor the outer edge of the left foot and let that pushing down gently emanate up the whole left side of the body. And then push into the front foot, coming back up to neutral, and take a couple of pulses to the side. And less is more here. You definitely don't want to feel anything in the low back. So you might just move an inch to the side, and that's totally fine. Try to feel that evenness. And the next time you're in it, pause there and start to reach forward with the right arm. Be really gentle and soft here. Kick into the right heel, letting the leg lengthen any amount. Gently sway from side to side so the low back stays soft. Hands can either slide down the leg or reach for the blocks if that feels safe. Coming into a modified Parjv Tanasana, gentle bend in the front knee. Send awareness down through the back leg and sway the hips from side to side. I'm going to take some extra time here because we have done a lot of back bends, and I really want to make sure everything stays released and soft and happy. And then gently begin to bend the back knee. Remember, keep as much weight as you need forward in the blocks in the front leg so the back leg is supported as the knee releases down to the mat. Take your time, and we'll play with our transition. So back toes stay tucked under, slowly come up, rolling up, reaching the arms up. Take a couple of pulses first. The pulses are really important because this is where we're uniting our leg into our core, and this is going to help us have success on our transition. The next time you lean back, pause there, take a smooth breath in, and as you exhale, let the body slingshot forward, lifting the back knee, letting the arms swing down. Nice, great job. Awesome. And so gently press into both feet, coming up to standing. But this time our sequence changes. So we'll gently fold forward, bringing hands to blocks. And let's see, actually it's harder with blocks. So if it's comfortable, gently lower the back knee, move the left hand to the side, and kick the left leg through, coming to the beginning of our sequence. If you like using the blocks, the next time we'll need them is at the other end of the mat for the same thing. So you can set them over there so they're easier to get to. And let's take some waves over our legs, tuning into the breath, that fluid rhythm, slow and steady. And if you're following along with the playlist, you are welcome at any time to go to the third track. The next time you wave up, arms slide to T, slowly lowering onto the back, waking up the back muscles, and then reach arms overhead. Right leg lifts and crosses, rolling over the left side, and then pulling you back. Left leg lifts and crosses. We're just doing one each side of all of these movements. And once you're back on the back, knees come in, give yourself a hug, and then two options here. Legs can, let's all start. Place soles of feet down, lift into bridge. You can do this. We're going to do 2 more repetitions, or you have the option to start to challenge the core a little extra. So the next time the knees curl into the chest and you lift, instead of setting the feet down for bridge, set the arms down for bridge and use your exhale to curl the legs up, lifting the pelvis away from the floor. And then you can set the feet down into bridge. And then curl up, option to take it a little higher, only if that feels good on the muscles of the arms and the back. But you can take it as high as feels comfortable. Just make sure you can breathe. And then bridge is a nice release. Let's take one more. Nice. Yeah, Dana, you can just go for shoulder stand if that's happening for you. Grab behind the thighs, kick into the legs, slowly, or actually quickly coming up, cross right foot over left hand behind you, flip to table. Send the hips back to your half devotional pose and slowly roll up one vertebra at a time with your exhale. Left hand lifts and reaches, and then we do one more to the right. half Bhaktasana, roll up through center, shift the weight into the right knee, step the left leg forward, and skillfully reach for your blocks, planting them to either side of the front foot. So you can come up any way you want, but if you liked that transition, play with shifting back into the psoas, inhaling to lift the arms, and exhaling to slingshot yourself forward. Nice. Slowly straighten the front leg, reaching up. And then release the heel down and exhale, arms to T right into the side bend. Inhale, float back up, and exhale, start to reach forward into Parjv Tanasana, hands on the blocks, shift the hips from side to side. And then start to bend into the front knee. Bend the elbows a little bit so the arms are really springy, and play with lifting the back leg any amount that's comfortable. And then slowly set the foot back down and extend the front leg as the spine rounds and rolls up. And we'll repeat that again. So bend into the front knee, arms to T, gentle side bend. Come back up and gently start to reach forward, swaying the hips as you lower. Bend both knees. Shift the weight forward. Lift the back leg any amount that feels good. And you get a nice arm workout with the blocks here, so it's really fun to use the blocks even if you're more flexible. Slowly roll up using the legs and the core together. Last one. Bend the front knee, arms to T, take your side bend. Breathe through the whole right side of the body. And then with your next inhale, float back up, straighten the front leg. Exhale, start to bend the front knee as you reach forward, swaying the hips, hands to the blocks. You can always stay here or play with bending the back knee, lifting the back leg. And we're going to play here a little bit longer this last round. So squeeze the inner thighs together, look down, and with your next exhale, let your head get really heavy and allow the top leg to unfurl. Try that a couple of times, taking this tipping movement to help unfurl that top leg. And then the next time you come out of it, gently release the right toes down. Slowly bend the right knee to the ground and extend the front leg for half splits. Urda Hanumanasana. Start to sway the hips from side to side and keep a little bend in the knees so you're not hanging out on any of the joints. Make sure you can breathe here. Breathe into the low back, the back of the hip. And then bend into the front knee. Come onto the fingertips and let the hips melt down for a moment as the heart lifts. And then let's do that one more time. Extending through the front leg, swaying the hips. If one of those movements feels really awesome and you want to stay there, you're more than welcome to. Otherwise, we'll pulse into the back bend. And then start to walk the blocks wide. Lower the right block down a little bit more so you can feel more stable as you put the weight into the right hand and slide the right knee forward. Kick the right leg through. Extend the left and recenter yourself on your mat. Move the blocks behind you. Okay, one last round. Here we go. So begin by bending the knees and melting forward just 2 times, connecting with the breath and the ability that the breath has to soothe and strengthen simultaneously. Next time you roll up, arms to T, control your descent with your arms sliding out. And then curl the knees in, curl up. You can repeat like this every time, or you can add the little press by reaching the arms down and letting the hips lift, and then letting the front of the body unfold right into bridge. And then knees curl in, option for that extra lift. And then let the body unfold. One more. Feel free to hold anything that you're exploring. Make sure you're breathing. And we'll all reach behind the knees and spring up to our seat. Cross the left leg in front and flip to your table. Send the hips back. Slow roll up. Right hand reaches up and to the right. And hinge. Slow roll up. Left hand reaches up and to the left. Last one. Slow roll up through center. Shift the weight into the left knee. Step the right foot forward. Set up your blocks. Option to use the blocks to lift the back knee, or if you liked that transition, come up to kneeling. Shift slowly back to engage the psoas, and then inhale, sweep the arms up, and as you exhale, spring forward, letting the back knee lift, letting the arms swing. And then push into both legs, slowly straightening the front leg, reaching the arms up, letting the back heel lower. As you exhale, bend gently into both knees, arms to T, take your side bend. And then inhale, start to straighten the front leg as you reach the arms forward really gently. Exhale, sway the hips from side to side, lowering the hands onto the block. Keep swaying for a moment. And then bend the front knee, shift the weight forward, bend the elbows a little bit. It's kind of like a reverse tricep dip experience with the arms, and start to squeeze the back leg in to meet the right knee. Look down and then let the head drop, and notice how the back leg can lift as the head lowers. And then send the back toes back to meet the earth. Slowly straighten the front leg and let that strength pull down on the pelvis so you can roll the spine up with a lot of support back to the beginning. We'll do that one more time. So arms reach up. Exhale, bend both knees, arms to T, gentle side bend. And then inhale, reach the arms forward, gently melting over the front leg. Exhale, take your sways. Next, inhale, bend into the front knee, bring the left thigh in, drop the head a little bit, let the leg unfurl, and then let's try that a couple of times. So lift the head so you're gazing forward, squeeze the legs together, and then with your next exhale, let the head drop, let the back leg unfurl. You can try it again. And the next time it unfurls, step that leg back. Gently bend the back knee and extend into the front leg. Sway the hips from side to side. Be gentle with the front foot. Sometimes it's really intense to flex your foot here, so don't try to make it intense. Be kind with yourself. And then gently start to bend into the front knee, letting the hips lower. Come onto the fingertips, lengthening through the front of the body, and be aware of the orientation of the pelvis, like we played with finding neutral. Awesome adjustment, Sithara. That was really great. And then kick into the front leg, sway the hips. And you can always stay here if you're really enjoying Urda Hanumanasana, or come back up. And then bend into the left knee a little bit extra until you can bring the right knee back to meet it. Lower the hips to the heels and walk the blocks forward a little bit. Mine are on medium height. And gently lengthen through the arms, lengthen through the crown of the head, and give your shoulders a little stretch. If you want more here, walk the blocks closer to you, closer to the elbows. Bend the elbows and point the fingertips up towards the sky in prayer position, or even down between the shoulders. Take a couple of breaths. And then heavy pelvis. Lengthen the arms forward and start to stack one vertebra at a time, coming up to seated on your heels, and we're ready to play with our peak pose a little bit. So move the blocks off to the side. Grab your blanket. The purpose of the blanket, I'll show you, is it's going to make your heels a little more slippery, so you've got some room to play. So spread your blanket out. We don't really need to have the stickiness of a yoga mat anymore. If you've got socks and a wood floor, it's like the same idea, but this one is cushier and friendlier. It's okay. You can grip. And then you'll also need your blocks. And let's turn to face the other way, because I would like to do it with the left leg in front. Oh, you guys look so cozy. This is great. So I'm going to demo a little bit. Feel free to jump in whenever you're excited to. The purpose of the blanket is it's going to allow the heel to slide so that you can play with Hanumanasana, but it's also going to help you stay strong, right? Where it's like you have to resist the sense of like collapsing. And so I really love playing with it in this way, with the hands on the blocks. And our goal is not to lower down, really, like stay in Urda Hanumanasana, that's fine. Our goal is to just explore this sense of having a neutral pelvis and seeing how much this muscle wants to open. And it might not want to open very much, and that's totally fine. But if it feels good, you can start to circle the front heel, can let it start to slide forward any amount. And the blocks help you stay more upright, right? The more you lean forward, the more that means, oh, the pelvis is probably tipping forward, right? And so what's happening in this pose is the more openness we have in the psoas, the more we can stay upright as that hip extends, right? So make sure you're breathing, make sure you're circling. That way you're finding openness in all of the hamstrings and not just in one. And let go of any sense of where you want to be and try to enjoy right where you are. Yeah. And you can play with dragging the left heel back so all those muscles strengthen, and then allowing the leg to come forward. And because the muscles are engaging so much here, I don't think you have to worry about hyperextension, but just make sure there's a sense of everything feeling strong and supported. And if you find a place that you want to pause and breathe, you can. Just make sure you're not pushing too deep and you're staying really light and springy. Looks really great, everybody. Take your time, but whenever you feel like you've had enough of this pose, come up by dragging the front heel back, bending the back knee, and allowing yourself to just not even go into a stretch, but just be here for a moment with the back leg bent. And then just like we did before in Ardha Hanumanasana, push into the back leg, let the sole of the front foot connect to the earth, and take a moment to let that feel really grounding and anchoring. And then just for fun, bring the blocks to the lowest height, tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee, and gently push into the hands to send the body back into plank or into down dog. I like down dog with blocks because it's just a little easier. It unloads the upper body a little bit. And then we can prepare for the other side. So gently lower the knees, come up to kneeling, and send the right heel forward. Bend the right knee, find that softness. Let's start with the highest height of the blocks and begin by just wagging your tail from side to side. So there's no sense of like, I'm trying to go forward into this pose. It's almost like I'm just starting to explore my hips. And then if the heel wants to slide forward a little bit, you can play with that. Just make sure you always have that sense of sway, right? If you lose it, it means you've gone too far. Connect with your breath. Play with circling the hips. And gently allow the front heel to come forward any amount, but try to stay upright and have awareness of what the back hip is doing and what it's allowing, what it's craving. And remember, you can always slide, like squeeze heel and knee together to come out of it. And I like to come back into it and then exhale, because the exhale has that quality of holding everything together so you don't go too far. And take your time, but whenever you feel like you've had enough exploration, the exit comes from dragging the right heel in, bending the back knee, letting the back hip lower, and then just pausing, seated on that back leg and breathing. If you want to round forward a little, you can, but try not to stretch too much into the right leg. And then gently push into the back shin, anchor the right foot, and pause for a moment just with that foot touching down. Let the awareness come up the foot and back shin into the pelvis, into the core. And then let the left hand and block slide over to the left. Slide the left knee forward, set the hip down, and kick the legs forward. Pause on your seat. And you're welcome to stay upright like this, or we'll close with some gentle waves over the front leg. And then take as many of these as you want, but when you're feeling satisfied, you can make your way onto your back just like we did before with the arms coming out to T, slowly letting everything spread out, letting the body get comfortable and soft. You can hit pause on your music. Feel free to have a sip of water. And I recommend finishing with some of those gentle rolls, just lifting one leg and letting that strong leg connect to your core and massage out the body. Move a little extra slowly here, and if you notice something that feels a little tight or a little cranky, pause as soon as you notice it, breathe into it, and make micro movements. So little tiny rocks to soothe that area, not to stretch it, but just to say, hey, it's okay. Relax, soften, you're safe. If the body's craving anything else, by all means, can add that in. And when you feel balanced and ready to rest, you can start to make your way towards Shavasana and afford yourself the luxury of putting on a sweater, grabbing props, whatever will help you be as soothed and calm as possible. We've got our blocks nearby, and so it can be nice to just put them under the knees so there's a softness in the knees and the low back. And take your time supporting yourself, finding softness. Oh, that's nice. Kayla put her block on her belly as a nice grounding, soothing anchor. everything to start to settle. And notice how close the breath is. Notice how easy it is to let the body start to fade. You're welcome to keep your focus on the breath. You're also welcome to let the breath fade as well as you drop into a deeper, quieter space inside. And we'll rest here for several minutes and then we'll meditate. take your time coming back to the breath. Start to make any gentle movements. And be patient and compassionate as you explore your way up to a comfortable seat for meditation. There's no need to rush. And grab anything to help support your body. And meditating after Shavasana has been such a powerful experience of getting to sink into a quiet mind. And so once you've found your physical posture, close the eyes or gaze at a single point. And then soften as much as possible, as if your physical body were dissolving. Let your breath be the most tangible sensation available to you. And start to attach the mantra hum to each inhale and sa to each exhale. And let the mantra be so gentle and subtle that it's softer than even the breath. And takes more sensitivity and focus to observe. Yet it is so natural. And as the mind wants to wake up after Shavasana, keep walking through the doorway that the breath is presenting. Notice if you have that little buffer around your thoughts, that split second of awareness that helps you stay free instead of getting entrapped. And just like Shavasana relaxes our body, let this be an opportunity to relax the mind as much as possible, finding softness and compassion, and letting yourself sink in. Mm. Thank you so much for practicing. Namaste. Mm. Take care, everybody. So great to see you. Hope that you have a new awareness of the magic of your own hips and that you had a great practice today. See you very soon.